of Music Mondays, where we talk about music that dropped within the week or within the month. Hosted by yours truly, Uwandile Umfokas BC. I go by the name of Sujeng on the streets. Kumanisi the plug, first of his name, and long may he reign. Today's episode, I have y'all a special artist who is arguably one of my favorite female vocalists. And her name is Cleo Sol, and she just dropped her fifth studio album called Gentlewoman. First time I heard Cleo Sol was back in 2020 during lockdown when someone sent me her album, and at the time I was in my journey of discovering new female artists, and I was big on listening to the Colors show, and her song Why Don't You was one of the songs that was my personal favorites on that whole segment. So when I dived deeper into her album, I fell in love with her style, her music, her writing style mostly, and how she makes music that speaks to your soul and that comes from the soul. Her second studio album is titled Mother, which is also one of my personal favorite albums that she has released. And I think that's when she had her baby. And on the cover, you can see that she's holding a baby, like a very baby, which is also kind of confusing because on the very recent project called Gentlewoman, she's also holding a baby. So I'm assuming she's had 2 kids, even though she hasn't really disclosed anything about her personal life in her music, because I listen to it religiously. So I would have picked up anything that might have spoken or might have mentioned anything along those lines. So I'm assuming that they recently had their second kid, him and her husband, which is why she released this album. Because from what I've listened on this album, she speaks about a perspective of someone who has healed and who has gone through the walks of life and figured that there's no such thing as a perfect love. Everything requires work and attention, which is what she promotes in her music. And that's one of the highlights of Cleo Sol for me, that she speaks to your soul, she speaks to your mind, she helps you heal, and she also kind of helps you see things clear, not only promoting you to fall in love with people, but to also be mindful of the type of love that you give to people, because some of us love dearly, but some people don't want to be loved dearly. So I think she kind of also helps me navigate that part, which is what I picked up in most of her music, starting from the album titled Heaven, where she speaks about friends changing on her, and Gold, which speaks about the golden times of having a relationship, or like the golden, because that's her last studio album prior to the one that she recently dropped. So I think that one was depicting a point in her life where things were moving so perfectly that she would title the album Gold. So both of those albums dropped in the same year, which was also another mind-blowing thing, and that kind of explains why she took a step back from her music, and she didn't release a project in 2024 and 2025. But her long-awaited album Gentlewoman gave us exactly what we were hoping. So what I love about this album is that, like I said, it speaks from a perspective, like it's her speaking from a perspective of gentleness, of kindness, of love, which is what I mostly receive every time I listen to her music, is that it promotes that energy, which is something that's very unlikely in the female space. I'm not going to mention names, but a lot of female artists speak about heartbreaks, they speak about the traumas. We hear from the perspective where they're still going through the traumas of them finding themselves in the same cycle of meeting either men that are not worthy of their love, or they are not able to pick the right men from the bunch. So that is something that is very refreshing and exciting and exhilarating to hear from her, that she always comes from a very positive way. She's one of those artists you would presume that she's never went through heartbreak, but when you listen to her music, you can tell that she's gone through a lot for her to be able to speak such life into people. And there's a line she mentions on I think it's the last song on her album, which is titled Gentlewoman, the Acknowledgement, where she speaks about that ideology of being able to pour life into herself, which has brought her the ability to also pour life into everyone else around her, including myself. Because after listening to this album, I feel very healed, even though I don't think a lot of people are going to receive it that way, or maybe I don't think it's going to change the world, a way to say, but people that are already fans or people that are about to be her fans are going to be mind blown, because it's the same message but in different forms or in different shapes from the first studio album. So if you're only going to be starting at listening to her music now, I bet my life on it, you will definitely fall in love, and it will probably grant you to the access or the ability to even go back and listen to her previous studio albums, which are conveying more or less the same type of message. Also would like to pinpoint or admire, or a fun fact that a lot of people don't even know. Cleo Sol is also a vocalist, a lead vocalist for a band called Salt, which usually compiles a variety of different artists like Chronics. There's quite a number of them, but those are the two that come at the top of my head at the moment. And they're like a British band which compiles different artists from different genres to make music. And the best part about it is that they don't put their names on the album, so you'd have to do a deep dive in researching as to who is the singer or who is the vocalist. Luckily, when I came across Salt, I was already able to pinpoint her vocal pitch and her vocal chords. So every time I hear a song from Salt, I could instantly pick it up that it's actually Cleo Sol that's singing on that. And once you're done looking at this video, please go check out Salt. They probably drop like 4 or 5 studio albums a year, which goes back to what I wanted to touch on as well, her work ethic. She's such a very good artist when it comes to writing. For her to be able to write 2 studio albums and on the same breath be able to write 3 other shorter EPs for Salt is amazing. I must say, that is something that not a lot of people are able to do. You usually find that in trap artists, because trap music is easy to make, bubblegum music. But with Cleo Sol, it's the total opposite of that. Her music is very tangible. It's very, I'd say, long-lasting, in a sense that even years from now, this music will still be carrying generations after generations to come. So she does not only just drop music in masses or in numbers just to flood the internet or just to create a buzz, but instead she's just flooding the internet so that everyone can see that you can actually be as soulful and as talented as her and still be able to produce or provide people with the best quality of music. So the songs that I picked up on this one, my favorite songs are going to be the first song that a lot of people are jamming to at the moment, which I presume will be the lead single on this project, which is called Sentimental Love. Please go check out that song. It is fire. And the second song I really loved was Gentlewoman, which is the title of the project. And another one that was my hidden gem that I recently liked today was Force of Love. Force of Love is one of those songs that I feel like carries her style from the beginning. Like it's a similar sound than the song that I mentioned, which is called Why Don't You. It's a similar style, but at the same time it's a totally different vibe, refreshing, but still the same artist. Then another song I really liked was called Family Ties. That's also a very beautiful song. Then followed by Their Smiles Are Not the Same, which is also another jam. Then I'm gonna top it off with the last 2 tracks, which is All Because of Love and The Little Things. Alright guys, on this one I'll be ending it on this one, but be sure to check out the next video. The next 3 videos might be my last videos this year, so yeah, be sure to tune in or be sure to go check out my previous videos. And yeah, like, share, subscribe and comment if you have any other suggestions. Have a good night.